Hello, this is Noah. Welcome out on the stretch. I wanted to share with you just what the Lord put on my heart this morning. Did you consult the Lord about this? And in another video, I mentioned how do I hear from God and how do I know it's the Lord? So in my devotions, I've been in chapter 9 of Joshua and just asking the Lord, what are you speaking to me through this? And letting the Bible read me. And it's a pretty interesting chapter. And for you and I, there are times where we'll have successes in the Lord, and maybe you're walking with God for a few years, or you've been walking with the Lord for a long time. Joshua at this point had been walking with the Lord for a long time, and same thing with the elders of Israel. But there's a trap that sometimes comes when we've had some great successes, and maybe you're coming back from a mission trip, and I've seen this in my own life, and also in the lives of others, and also in ministries, where we've had these really amazing successes, and right after that, it's like the enemy comes in and tries to make you and I make a peace treaty with something we should never be at peace with. Or we're tired, or we're starting to get a little too confident, and we're getting the hang of this walk. So that is an area where if you are starting to be a little too high, stop right there. And it's like reading this always makes me think, Lord, help me to be low and that you are high, and hide me behind the cross, because if Joshua can make a mistake like this, so can I. And whenever you see a man or woman of God make a mistake in the Bible, highlight it, underline it, because I am no greater, and neither are you, than the other men and women who have walked before us. So in Joshua 9, there was a group of kings that were about to be united and attack the Israelites. But the Gibeonites had another strategy. In verse 3, but when the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they resorted to deception. To save themselves, they sent ambassadors to Joshua, loading their donkeys with weathered saddlebags and old patched wineskins. They put on worn-out, patched sandals and ragged clothes. The bread they took with them was dry and moldy. And so it's easy for you and I to identify the kings like these wolves that just dress up like wolves. But there's another area where it's a little harder when it's the enemy's being deceptive. So whenever these people say all the right things, especially after the successes, stop right there. And Joshua and the Israelites knew something was up, but keep going with me. The Israelites replied to these Hivites, how do we know you don't live nearby? For if you do, we cannot make a peace treaty with you. They replied, we are your servants. But Joshua said, who are you? Where do you come from? They answered, your servants have come from a very distant country. And that is a place to stop right there. And they are being so vague. And liars will be nothing but vague, especially when you're onto their own scheme and gimmicks. They will just run around in circles and give you and I half-truths. And be careful what you're listening to out there if you're just listening to something that leads you around in circles and half-truths. Because liars, again, they will not get specific when you're asking them specific questions. Where do you come from? Oh, we come from a distant land. And so I want to send this warning out to you, but also to myself, of God, help me. Give me just a spirit of discernment and wisdom. And so go on to verse 12 with me. This bread was hot from the ovens when we left our homes, which was lying because they took old moldy bread. But now you can see it is dry and moldy. These wineskins were filled when we left with them, and now they're old and split. So the Israelites examined their food, but they did not consult the Lord. And again, I am not a stronger man of God than any other man of God in the Bible. So it's like, Lord, help me. And just 3 days after making the treaty, they learned that these people actually lived nearby. And I think, how many bad relationships would not happen if you and I just stopped and said, I'm going to consult the Lord about this? Or maybe your business is expanding and it's time to hire, and it's really easy to identify the employer who's only bashing his former place of work, or his other connections. Or if you're out on a date and the guy or girl is just nothing but bashing their previous ex and all of that. Like, those are easy red flags and easy to identify. But when they're saying all the right things and their words are matching their clothes, but you have that check in your heart. You have that just like, something's rotten in the cotton here. Stop and consult the Lord. And I want to encourage you, If you are about to hire someone for the ministry and they're just being vague, and you feel like, hey, something just doesn't smell right about this, or you're going out on a date, or it is time to expand the church or expand business, stop and consult the Lord. And if the person you're considering getting involved with does not honor you and say, okay, if you want to take 3 days to consult the Lord, that's great. If they can't honor that, run for the hills. And thank God that he gave you the wisdom and clarity to not get involved with that person. And another thing I really appreciate about Joshua, and this is a good area for especially young men and young women to study other leaders in the Bible. Joshua was not a coward. He did not sit and sulk. He acknowledged that he made a mistake and he took responsibility for it, which is awesome. And if you go on to read Joshua chapter 10, the Lord hands over the next town, but Joshua owned up to it. He took responsibility, and that is something where even in our time when it's like no leader wants to take responsibility, you and I are still called to own our mistakes, which we all will make them, and to humble ourselves, to seek the Lord, and let him give us beauty out of the ashes. So I want to encourage you today, if you are in a place where you're about to make a decision and you're thinking, oh, okay, I got this whole thing figured out, stop right there, Christian, and consult the Lord and let him order your steps. So I'm just pleading with you to do that. I've seen it in my own life and in others where we have driven past those red lights and it hurts. So I again encourage you, stop and consult the Lord today. God bless you until next time.